Have you ever wondered why your life keeps repeating itself in the same cycles? They told you it's just a coincidence. But they're wrong. If you're hearing these words right now, you're not here by chance. If you're ready to learn the great quantum secret that has been hidden from you for years, the secret that will allow you to take complete control of your life. Take a deep breath, because the truth they didn't want you to know is being revealed to you right now. Have you ever noticed that every morning when you open your eyes, you're actually stepping into an invisible prison, perfectly constructed by your mind and past experiences? Most people spend their lives on autopilot, believing that life is a rigid and cruel reality imposed on them from the outside, impossible to change. Yet everything you see around you right now, every challenge you face, every recurring misfortune, and every chronic cycle you can't escape, is nothing more than the echo of your unique frequency signature, sent into the cosmic orchestra of that vast and invisible quantum field. This universe doesn't listen to what you want, what you wish for, or how much you suffer. It only returns to you by perfectly mirroring your deepest vibration, your deeply ingrained subconscious beliefs, and the energy you radiate. That infinite sea of intelligence and potential that we call the quantum field whispers a very clear truth to us. Everything in the universe, every event, and every possibility hangs suspended in a waiting room as pure energy, a boundless wave of possibilities, until you look at it with conscious awareness. But when you focus on those infinite possibilities with your limited perception, burdened by the weight of the past, that energy wave suddenly collapses and transforms into a concrete, solid matter, a life experience shaped precisely by your fears, hidden expectations, or that inner voice that says, "I'm already unlucky." It is at this point that the infamous observer cycle, in which you have been trapped for years, the key to the exit door being in your own pocket but which you have forgotten, begins to operate mercilessly. As long as you continue to watch this life movie, referencing your old pains, the dark shadows of the past, the people you can't forgive, and your suffocating anxieties about the future, the needle of your mind is doomed to remain stuck on the same scratched spot on the record. Unless you awaken that divine observer within you and radically change your mode of observation, the people in your life may change, the cities may change, your job may change, but no matter how much the external scenery is renewed, the familiar scenario playing out on the stage and the deep emptiness you feel will never be different. The bars of this invisible prison are not made of steel or iron, but of the solidified energy forms and neurological networks you have created by tirelessly feeding the same thoughts and feeling the same emotions every day. Unless you activate your meta-observation ability, that is, unless you observe the workings of your own mind, your thoughts, and your emotional reactions from the outside, as if you were watching someone else's life on a movie screen, with the demeanor of a completely neutral and non-judgmental witness, it is impossible to escape this low-frequency spiral according to quantum laws. The quantum field is concerned not with the fantasies you construct at a mental level, but with who you are at a cellular level, that is, at what vibrational level you exist. If you are constantly broadcasting from a frequency of lack, deprivation, worthlessness, or helplessness, then, according to the principle of universal resonance, it will only reflect back to you a series of events that justify these heavy feelings, those destructive people, and those dead ends. This is never divine punishment, karma, or bad luck, but a perfectly functioning mathematical and unbiased ecosystem of the universe. When you grasp, in every cell of your being, the great secret that has been carefully hidden from you until today, the fact that the observer recreates the observed every moment, every second, you will realize, with a terrifying yet liberating enlightenment, that you are not actually in a prison, but sitting at the very center of a hologram, a simulation that you have coded with your own consciousness. Your soul is in constant, uninterrupted communication with that infinite ocean of energy, far beyond this physical form of flesh and bone, where time and space do not exist. Every intention that passes through your mind, every emotion that springs from your heart, creates enormous waves, tsunamis of new reality, in that ocean. This immense and mystical power, which we call the observer effect, is your ability to bend matter, time, and space with your perspective, to rewrite your own destiny. If you are not satisfied with the life you woke up to today, with the body you inhabit, with the relationships that are stifling your soul. You must now turn your gaze from those false external results inward to your own inner root frequency that produces those results and attracts those events into your life. To finally unleash the immense and limitless potential that lies deep within your soul and break the invisible chains that have bound you for years, you must first decipher the silent yet flawless language of the universe, the language of the energy you are emitting right now, this very second, and learn to speak with it masterfully. Because the universe never listens to the flowery words that fall from your lips, the desperate struggles of your mind, the helpless prayers you utter at night, or what you intensely desire. It responds instantly and with absolute accuracy, like a colossal cosmic mirror, to the invisible vibration emanating from the deepest layers of your being, to the unique and inimitable frequency signature you carry at the cellular level. Your consciousness is not merely a simple biological mechanism trapped within this body of flesh and bone. Rather, it is a colossal broadcasting tower that, every moment, every second, with every breath, sends new data to the vast quantum field itself, calculates new possibilities, and instantly draws in the reality with which it resonates. Your higher self, that ancient and wise part of you, constantly and compassionately whispers to you from within, sending you signs, trying to communicate with you through your dreams, your feelings, your inexplicable instincts, to show you the truest, brightest, and most peaceful path in this vast and sometimes frightening sea of infinite possibilities. However, the low vibrational anxieties, the societal fears, the echoes of childhood traumas, and the endless, noisy chatter of your ego mind prevent you from hearing the subtle, pure whisper of your higher self, condemning you to get lost within the rigid rules of this three-dimensional illusion. This dense material world, time, as you were taught in school, is not a rigid, merciless, and irreversible linear line flowing from past to future, but a vast illusion, a mental construct that stretches, bends, contracts, or expands infinitely depending entirely on the frequency at which your consciousness vibrates. If you constantly live in the heavy, dark energies of the past, in those endless regrets and remorse, time becomes a swamp for you, almost freezing, forcing you to drown in the same cycles, the same heartbreaks. Overcoming this heavy illusion of time that weighs upon your consciousness, stepping outside that matrix, and achieving the true freedom of your soul begins only by urgently activating that sleeping giant within you, that is, the ability of meta-observation, and taking your place in that divine witnessing position. Meta-observation, in its simplest terms, is the art of observing everything that happens within your own mind, the poisonous thoughts it produces, the sudden and uncontrolled emotional reactions, fears, and desires as if they weren't yours, as if you were sitting on the side of a crowded and noisy street, watching the cars go by without interfering, judging, labeling, or identifying with them completely from the outside, like a pure and neutral witness. When you create that sacred distance between yourself and that dark thought in your mind, that insidious whisper of, "I'm inadequate. I can't succeed. I'm not worthy of love." When you realize that thought isn't you, but merely a fleeting energy form like clouds passing through your mind, then a tremendous rupture occurs in the quantum field, and you instantly nullify the destructive power and hypnotic effect of that feeling on you. This state of profound awareness goes beyond mere intellectual belief systems. It penetrates the very depths of the human soul, renewing your cells, instantly elevating your frequency signature to the highest octaves, to the frequency of love, gratitude, and creation, bringing an indescribable immense peace and unwavering power. You are no longer a victim of those thoughts, but the awakened gardener who selects, filters, and waters only those thoughts that serve your highest potential in the garden of your consciousness. When you shift to the meta-observer position, you realize in every cell of your being that life isn't a cruel game being played against you, but rather a flexible and obedient quantum hologram woven thread by thread with your own frequency signature, which you can reshape at any moment, and which awaits your commands. Instead of getting lost in the dark forests of your mind, when you ascend to the highest peak of your consciousness and begin to look at everything below from that bird's eye view, that divine perspective, You will realize with laughter how weak and illusory those invisible belief patterns and recurring trauma cycles that have been sabotaging you for years actually are. Unless you tune that perfect compass within yourself, that divine observer GPS embedded deep within your soul to the correct frequencies, unless you shift its needle from the heavy fears of the past to the luminous love of infinite possibilities, you are doomed to lose yourself throughout your life on the narrow, limiting, and suffocating maps others have drawn for you. On the false paths, mercilessly imposed by society, family, or the system, playing the small, helpless, and ordinary roles they deem appropriate for you. Because when you don't consciously set your own course, your own quantum goal, you become merely a pawn, a drained battery, in the vast and neutral void of the universe, carried along by the powerful intentions of others, the low-frequency expectations of society, and that invisible matrix. Yet, in the deepest cells of your being, you are the awakened, boundless cosmic architect, possessing the power, the infinite authority, and the divine spark to recreate your own reality, your own miracles, and your own quantum universe from scratch, with a completely new design, stitch by stitch. In that vast, mind-bending sea of possibilities we call the quantum field, nothing, absolutely nothing, is definite, rigid, unchangeable, or petrified like a tragic fate written on one's forehead. On the contrary, that infinite field of potential is a living, intelligent energy plasma, extremely flexible, extremely fluid, and ready to react instantly to every thought, every feeling, and every intention emanating from your being. It obeys the commands of your consciousness to the letter, shaping itself according to your vibration. Therefore, with every breath you take, with every conscious and clear thought that passes through your mind, you have the chance to break the heavy chains of the past forever and create a completely new, miraculous manifestation that serves your highest potential. The opportunity to rewrite the rules of your own universe from scratch. The concept we call a timeline isn't a one-way journey on a single highway, as you've been taught, but a vast, multi-layered multiverse network in quantum space, where an infinite number of parallel realities, an infinite number of different life scenarios, and an infinite number of different versions of you exist and vibrate simultaneously. And you don't have to live that limited, materially stressful, painful, or soul-satisfying life you're currently experiencing, because in that single moment of immense awareness, when you shift the frequency of your consciousness, the station of your inner broadcasting station, your consciousness makes a massive quantum leap from that old, decayed, and blocked timeline to that highest, brightest, and most powerful new timeline where the magnificent life of your dreams, that perfect health, that immense abundance, and that profound love are already being lived. If these lines you are reading right now resonate profoundly within the depths of your soul, in that ancient state of knowing you had forgotten but which has always been there, if the sleeping giant within you is now eager to awaken and break the chains of sacrifice that have lasted for centuries, and if you are now ready, with every cell and every atom, for this great universal change, this magnificent quantum leap, then immediately, without wasting any time and without paying any attention to the skeptical, cowardly whispers of your ego, write these magical, code-breaking words in the comments below. I am aligned with my highest timeline. This action should not be mistaken for a simple, ordinary comment left on a digital screen. A few meaningless words written haphazardly. This action is a very clear, very sharp, and irreversible declaration of frequency that you, with your own free will and absolute power, hurl into the living, vibrating fabric of the universe. It is the divine seal, the very new covenant, that you fearlessly strike into the quantum field. Because by writing these words, by releasing this high vibration into that infinite void, you declare to all galaxies and all dimensions that you have shattered the narrow, suffocating boundaries of your old identity, your victim role, your feelings of worthlessness, and your consciousness of deprivation, that you have broken that false shell forever, and that you are now fully, unconditionally, and with great confidence included in the pure, unhindered, and miraculous powerful flow of universal connection, of cosmic intelligence. With this new and unwavering declaration of frequency, The heavy and suffocating curtain of illusion that the system has relentlessly imposed on you for years begins to tear irrevocably. Those false walls begin to crumble with a great noise, because when you take your own power into your own hands, the victim mentality that society, family, environment, or the deep traumas you experienced in the past have burdened you with, cannot hold on for even a second in the face of the transparent, pure, and all-powerful fabric of the quantum field. It is destined to melt away like a block of ice in the sun, and you are no longer a helpless leaf blown by the wind, but the invincible, powerful, and awakened observer who consciously shapes every moment of your life, every breath you take, and every thought that passes through your mind. And you should know that the deep shiver of awakening you feel as you read these lines is by no means an ordinary coincidence, because all the pain you have experienced until today, all the seemingly insurmountable difficulties you have faced, and the dark pits you have fallen into, are not actually traps set by the universe to punish you, but on the contrary, they are your own magnificent. These were divine tests, cosmic springboards meticulously presented to you to trigger your potential, awaken the sleeping giant within, and prepare you for this momentous awakening, when you realize the silent, serene, yet boundless and powerful energy within yourself, the deafening chaos of the outside world, its endless dramas, and its low-frequency fluttering, can no longer disturb the unwavering peace at your core, because you understand, with an awareness that permeates your very cells, that the outside is a reflection, and the inside is the true source that creates that reflection. Every thought that passes through your mind, every emotion that radiates from your heart into the universe, is a magnificent energy seed planted in the very heart of that infinite quantum void, that living space-time fabric, waiting to sprout. And you know very well that you will no longer water those old, decaying seeds filled with fear and anxiety, but only the golden seeds that will nurture love, abundance, health, and your highest self. The ghosts of the past haunt you when your mind's old neural networks try to drag you down, when they call you back to those familiar, comfortable yet poisonous cycles of pain. You will stand like that unshakable lighthouse in the middle of that endless sea of possibilities, and you will never surrender your frequency signature to that old darkness, because this moment is the greatest, the most glorious turning point in your soul's millennia-long journey. At this turning point, you cease to be a poor victim lost in that complex web of possibilities, and transform into a master creator who weaves that web with his own will, with his own divine light. The universe must instantly obey your absolute and clear determination, your unwavering stance. Because by the very nature of the system, whatever you believe, whatever you feel in every cell of your being, reality begins to bend all the laws of physics to serve you in that form. That is why this deep breath you take today, right now, at this very second, is the last breath of your old self. And it is the glorious first sign of life of your awakened, boundless, new self, who has attained the power to create your own paradise in your mind. The quantum field is a great revolution in your frequency, watching in silence but with immense power. The people who will now enter your life, those miraculous encounters you thought were coincidences, and the doors that will open one after another, have already begun to take their places on the stage as perfect reflections of your new vibration. And in this magnificent moment of awakening, when you stop struggling with those enormous waves in the sea of possibilities and understand that your existence is not a drop of water but the ocean itself, you will realize with that great enlightenment that the invisible prison in your mind never actually existed, that it only stood there because you believed in it, and with a feeling of infinite freedom, you will sit on your unshakable throne as the absolute ruler of your own universe. There is no room for any doubt, any retreat, any fear anymore. Because the breaking point has been passed, the quantum dice have been cast in your favor, and that immense sea of possibilities has split in two for you to create your own perfect reality. Just continue walking with confidence and watch with great enthusiasm as that immense creative power dances in every cell of your being, because your consciousness has completely broken free from those narrow dimensions, from the restrictive rules of that ordinary and boring world, and into that pure. You have already transitioned to the creative energy, to that instantaneous manifestation frequency. You are no longer a passive victim watching what is happening. You are that unique and unparalleled power, selecting the materials you desire from that infinite quantum field every second, preparing your own magnificent feast of life. Those negative voices in your mind, those echoes of your old self that belittled you and told you you couldn't do it, are now nothing more than faint radio interference from distant lands, no longer belonging to you. When you finally bravely emerge from the narrow, airless, dark, and labyrinthine corridors of your mind, and take your first step into the vast, luminous, and breathtakingly expansive planes of your higher consciousness, you begin to feel with an immense shiver in every cell, in every strand of your DNA, that everything in the universe, from the brightest star in the sky to the silent drop of water in the deepest ocean, is inextricably bound together by invisible, golden, vibrating, and unbreakable quantum threads, because you are no longer just a small, ordinary, and helpless individual of flesh and bone, confined within earthly worries, but the very heartbeat at the center of that enormous, cosmic heart where the entire universe breathes and all galaxies collide simultaneously. And at this momentous point, your painful yet glorious transformation, your shedding of your old identity and rebirth from your ashes like a phoenix, is not just about saving your personal life or saving your own small self. This isn't just a narrow story of salvation illuminating your world. It's also an indescribably great, unique, and colossal contribution you're making to the ascent of that immense collective consciousness on this weary, heavy, and long sleep-imprisoned planet. When you light the dark chambers within yourself, lifting your frequency signature from the swamp of fear and anxiety to the highest peaks of love, gratitude, and absolute unity, you must never forget that millions of sleeping souls on Earth are also illuminated by your immense light through those invisible networks. The colossal waves of your high vibration in the quantum field transcend borders, oceans, and continents, nudging the sleeping giants in other hearts and inviting them to this divine awakening, this journey of rebirth. This unique awakening where you demolish the old prison of your mind and join the perfect symphony of universal connection may sometimes make you feel strange, lonely, and excluded among the sleepwalking crowds around you, but you must know that on this magnificent path, this interstellar journey, in this leap of consciousness, you are never, ever alone. Thousands, millions of awakened souls awaken at the same time as you, vibrating at the same frequency, rising from the darkness, lighting their divine torches, in that quantum void, every second, every breath. You walk shoulder to shoulder with them. But to remain at this high frequency, to resist the powerful gravity of that three-dimensional world, that old matrix that constantly tries to pull you down, to not allow that curtain of illusion to put you back to sleep, requires constant, conscious, and immense determination, an unwavering inner practice, a dedicated spiritual discipline that demands constant wakefulness. That is precisely why, to avoid succumbing to your old habits, to avoid returning to the warm but poisonous comfort zone of the victim role, and to fuel the fire of this transformative awakening every day, every moment, subscribe to this frequency right now, yes. Not just this channel as a simple digital act, but with all your heart to that enormous, unstoppable, and all-transforming wave of consciousness evolution on our planet, to that cosmic network created by those immense lightworkers. Subscribe with your intention and your whole being, because when you make this choice, you will be shouting the message, I am now awake, I am now remembered, and I am now a conscious creator of this universal game, to the universe's infinite database at the highest decibel level. And the universe will instantly respond to your resolute call with synchronicities, miraculous encounters, and divine guidance that it will attract into your life. With each new awakening, with each inner victory you achieve against darkness, you will have taken another one of those unwavering, irreversible steps on the path to becoming the master of your own reality, your own quantum universe. What we call universal connection is not that everything else begins where your boundaries end, but that your boundaries never actually existed. It is the realization that you are not a drop in the ocean, but the infinite, powerful ocean itself within that drop. You are no longer that sleepwalking victim lost in this three-dimensional, heavy, and restrictive illusion, chained to the traumas of the past and the anxieties of the future. You are no longer just a tiny, helpless droplet drifting in the vast, mind-bending sea of possibilities in the quantum field. You are the entire ocean contained within that droplet, with its waves, storms, and profound tranquility. With this immense understanding, this unwavering awareness, you have finally, completely and irrevocably shattered the poisonous cycle of observation that trapped you for years, condemning you to constantly experience the same pains, losses, and disappointments. Your old identity, those habits that dragged you down, those false, narrow, and suffocating roles society imposed on you, no longer have the slightest influence or power over you, because you are now firmly seated on the unshakable throne of that immense, liberated observer who categorically refuses to be drawn into the chaos, the endless dramas, and the low vibrational games of people outside. Instead of reacting to events and situations, you watch them from your own unshakable peace, from that seat of non-judgmental, neutral, and wise witness. And this throne is not an ordinary, earthly power. It is the power to bend the living, intelligent fabric of the universe with your own thoughts, your own higher intentions, to create your own paradise right now, in this world, in this physical body. Those old whispers of doubt, those ego-based dark fears that try to infiltrate your mind, can no longer seize you. They are merely faint and insignificant shadows, passing by from afar. Meaningless, unable to touch you, because you are that. You know with all your being, with all your soul, that shadows are nothing but the absence of light, and that the immense, colossal sun within you has now risen so powerfully and brightly that it will swallow all darkness forever. The quantum void, that boundless matrix of possibilities, bows in reverence before your new, unwavering, and clear stance. Cold reality reorganizes itself with great speed and fervor to adapt to this new, sublime, and utterly liberated level of your consciousness. And as you gratefully observe this immense change around you, this cellular renewal, the radiant people entering your life, the miraculous opportunities, you feel the wise observer within you smiling gently and compassionately, because it knows very well that this is not blind chance from thin air, not a coincidence, but your own divine deserving, the perfect and inevitable mathematical result of your own awakening. Remember that the luminous path stretching out before you is a path no one has ever walked before, belonging only to you, illuminated by your unique frequency, and filled with infinite, unimaginable, immense possibilities, never-ending miracles, and the one and only absolute power that will extract these infinite possibilities from that murky quantum void, transforming them into tangible, living, breathing, and heart-pounding magnificent reality, is your unique, awakened, and age-old self, the most precious treasure in the universe. You are consciousness completely freed from its shackles. You are not merely a small part of the universe, but the universe itself, brought to life by your pure awareness, shaped by your loving intentions, and experienced by yourself through your awakened eyes. Therefore, there is nothing left for you to search for outside, nothing to frantically chase after, nothing to feel the lack of. All those exhausting searches are over. Those debilitating battles have ended, and the endless, poisonous noise of your mind has given way to that immense, healing, and all-encompassing divine silence. Within that sacred silence, you are the perfect, invincible, and infinite being of light, who hears the deepest secrets of the universe, who weaves those secrets into your life like a flawless embroidery, and who, with every conscious step, transforms the earth a little more into a golden age, a little more into paradise. Now, with the fire of this shocking realization, this immense enlightenment that vibrates every cell of your being, you have completely released all the heavy burdens of the past into that dark void, and in your own magnificent, miraculous, and flawless new reality, you are a complete and perfect being, with surrender, immense enthusiasm, and unwavering confidence. Walk as the most magnificent, most free observer of the universe. Claim your own miracle. Sit forever on your unique throne, and savor the indescribable joy of being the most awake, most powerful creator of this vast cosmic game. If you are determined to remain in this awakening frequency and create your own miracles, subscribe to the channel right now. And to seal this new quantum reality into the universe, write these magic words below. I am the creator of my own universe.